Hello everyone and welcome to the first class of our Media and Journalism course. I'm Kseniia Petrova, as you probably know, and I will be your teacher for these 2 weeks. Our classes will be structured in the way that you will watch a video like this every time before you come to class. It's not to test your knowledge, you won't need to memorize any information or terms, just to make you comfortable with the topic and so that you come up with questions, because journalism is essentially the art of asking questions. So let's begin. Our first lesson is Introduction to Journalism. Today I'll give you a brief overview of what journalism is. And our lesson's goals of today are to introduce the concept of journalism and what this word really means, state the role of journalism in the society, and look at 9 different types of journalism, because journalism is a very diverse field of study and there are many areas that you can learn and look at. So today I'll introduce 9 of them, and maybe one will gain your attention. You will want to learn about it more. So what is journalism? So the basic idea that journalism is, its activity or the profession, occupation, field, where people create news for newspapers, magazine, websites, TV, and radio. But also journalism is also collection and editing of news that when you prepare them for presenting for media. So it's the process of delivering news and creating the news content. It's also an academic study. Journalism as academic study teaches you more about how to create news content, how to prepare it and deliver to people. What's the role of journalism? Why do we need to have journalists in our society? Well, first and foremost, purpose of journalism is to provide citizens with the information that they need in order to make some kind of life-changing decisions in their life, about their communities, about their societies, and even about the government. Journalists are messengers between the government and the public. Their main goal is to convey the message from the government or explain what's going on or to update about certain events so that people understand what is going on and what kind of decisions they need to make. It's also an invisible fourth branch of the government. You know how there are 3 basic branches of government? It's a president being the executive, then there is Supreme Court who are judicial, and then there is also legislative, which is Senate or some other type of government. The fourth branch of government is not official, but essentially is played by journalists. It's also called the fourth estate, meaning that even though journalists don't hold any positions in power, their main role is to make sure that the actual 3 branches of government do what they're supposed to do. They follow their guidelines, they keep their promises, and work for the benefit of people. Journalists also produce original content. If you just take somebody's article and copy and paste it, changing some words and phrasing, that's not journalism. That's plagiarism. To be a real journalist, you need to be able to create original stories. Journalists also follow a code of ethics. You cannot include in your report certain things that might be harmful for the society or cause big emotional harm. You need to be cautious of what you're doing and follow that code of ethics. And another role of journalists is to provide content that will change people's perspectives, change their opinions. And it's not in the way that if they were supporting left party to make them support right party. Rather, it's in showing the true color of those people, to show the true color of the events that are happening so the people have the true information. So what are different types of journalism? So first of all, journalists play the role of watchdog. Then there are investigative reporters. As everything now online, there is online journalism, broadcast journalism that includes radio and TV, opinion journalism, the only where journalists are allowed to express their personal opinions, political journalism covering the political life, both locally and internationally, sports journalism, trade journalism related to different businesses, and entertainment journalism. And now let's look at each of these types of journalism separately. The first type of journalism we will look at today is watchdog journalism. What does this term mean? Do you know what a watchdog is? It's a dog that's placed in your house to guard your house, to protect it from other people's intervention. The same happens with journalists. As a watchdog, they're supposed to guard the society from any illegal actions that local government, politicians, or corporations that have a big effect on the place may make. Also, as watchdog, journalists have to uncover and expose any wrongdoings that these politicians or corporations may make, so that people are aware of the true nature of intentions of politicians and corporations and also see what's going on. They need to ensure that powers, such as politicians and corporations, remain accountable for their actions. Accountable means taking responsibility. So journalists want to make sure that people, such as politicians or managers of big corporations, take responsibility of what they're doing. And if anything that they do is wrong, that they take that responsibility and take the responsibility to fix what they have done wrong. Watchdog journalists monitor activities of large companies and influential figures in order to report any of their activities that might have negative impact on the society. In that way, they uncover true faces and true intentions of politicians and corporations, and sometimes it can make a big difference. Next type of journalism is investigative journalism. So those are journalists who conduct in-depth research to collect some kind of information. So if there is something that happened and you need to really get deep into that and find out why, that's when investigative journalism comes. They collect and evaluate evidence and write comprehensive reports, meaning that full with a lot of information and explanation to show what really happened. And they also provide evidence on their conclusions that they make based on their investigation to show the people that they didn't make any information up, but it's the true result of their investigation. This type of journalism requires more time to plan, prepare, research, and takes longer time to create a report, meaning that if an investigative journalist starts work on something today, they won't be able to come up with a story by tomorrow. It will probably take weeks, if not months, depending on the complexity of the story. Yet these are the stories that probably will make the biggest impact on the society, since they will uncover a lot of in-depth information and explain a lot of things. Next type of journalism is online journalism. Everything now has moved to online learning, online teaching, and journalism. Even though this crisis is not the only reason why journalism became online. It's just convenient when you don't just have a print newspaper or a certain time allocated for news on your TV channel, but also can have this information accessible to people online, because not all people buy newspaper, not all people can be home to watch news, but in their own time, if it's available online, almost anyone can go and watch and read. So online journalism is reporting through different internet medias, such as having digital newspapers. Many newspapers now have their websites, or on social media. Did you notice how many news organizations came up with groups or chats online on social media such as Facebook? Believe it or not, but many bloggers that you follow can also qualify as online journalists because they create original content. And that's one of the things that journalism does. Unfortunately, because information is so available online, you have to watch for what you read and make sure that all the sources you're following are credible. You know how many teachers tell you don't use Wikipedia? That's because Wikipedia lost its credibility, since anyone can access and edit the information provided there. And online journalism follows the same rules as any traditional journalism does. It's collecting facts and presenting to the best of the knowledge and following code of ethics. Online journalism allows reporters to present the information in a very timely manner, because it doesn't take any time to edit video or to edit text or print newspaper. It goes out immediately. So there is no delay, no processing time, and no delivery time. Broadcast journalism includes reporting through radio and television. Both of those are considered to be broadcast. And broadcast journalism do different things, and they can report sports, they can do weather, traffic, which is very relevant to local news especially, delivering latest news updates and also showing some entertainment news. Broadcast journalism can also take forms of being investigative, watchdog, or even opinion journalism, because it's really what you put into the program, whether it's on the radio or on TV. And if on the radio you will only see the sound, for the broadcast journalism, TV journalism, there are many options that you can show. You can only simply narrate it sitting in the studio, or you can have video go alongside, or you can just show the video. So depending on what the idea that you want to convey by your report, the presentation will be different. And here we come to the opinion journalism. So that's the only place where journalists are allowed to express their personal opinion, or better, when it's not just personal, but the opinion of the majority of people, because journalists are supposed to represent the people. So opinion journalism is mostly subjective ideas and not objective facts, because it's based on objective facts that well known to other people, but journalism processes that information in order to pass it to people so that they understand what it can cause. Opinion journalism is, simply put, getting stories and putting them for people into perspective. It includes personal thoughts and biases. So when a journalist gives an opinion of something that's going on, they put in it what they think about it, what they feel about it, and by that they hope to show to general public, to people, how it may influence other people, how it might affect other people. And even though opinion journalism is based on subjective ideas, it's good when journalists balance their opinion with the ideas of the people that they represent. So when journalists write an opinion piece, they shouldn't just rely on their own perspective, but also take into account my readers, my watchers, what they might think about it. How can I, from my opinion piece, present this information in a way that people feel heard as well? The next on our list is political journalism. Reporting on politics may get challenging because politicians usually do not favor press, since we report on their wrongdoings and present the true nature that they have to people, to their potential citizens that they want to vote for them. And political journalism, as comes from its name, it focuses on government, politics, political situation, political candidates, different parties, and it can also be as little as local politics in your town, just your local administration, and go to national, such as president, senate, and go to international politics, where it's interaction of different countries. And the main goal of journalists working in politics is to report on activities that are done by elected officials or those who are only running for the office, report on how the candidates are running, what are their campaigns are, and present it to people so they can choose, and also report on the work that has been done already by those politicians and how it goes along with what they said they would do and what they actually are doing. And political journalists, they ensure that people have access to the information and they understand what political activities are done by the party they voted for or they will vote for, their presidential candidates, and based on that they can make their decisions if they're satisfied with the government or not, and what actions need to be taken later. The next is very exciting for some people, sports journalism. It obviously focuses on athletic news, everything that's in the sports news on the local level, international level, such as Olympics. And it reports scores, ranking of different teams, athletes, what's going on in their families, how is their career going, who got promoted, who got retired. And sports journalism, it also includes commentating, but it's a little different because it's not as much of the news that requires preparation, but it's more instant news where you just present the information as it goes, maybe with some explanation. And believe it or not, even though sports journalism might look very easy, just go and talk to athletes and report scores and everything, when you listen to commentators online, on the TV, on the radio, they actually do a lot of work prior to that game that they're commentating in order to provide any information on the players, judges, the place, and ranking of those teams that are playing. So it's just as complicated as any type of journalism. The next type of journalism is trade journalism, which is related to business, economy, numbers, and all of that. Usually journalists who work for trade journalism has a specific industry or field assigned to him or her. For example, if you are a trade journalism and you specify on agriculture, you'll need to know a lot of details of that about that industry, different developments, trends, people, different corporations, how people view those corporations or factories or farms. It also includes that you will need to know industry-specific news for products, business sectors, what are the traveling, finances, healthcare related to that. And trade journalism, they usually process and then report on the information that they know regarding the market condition or the trade situation, relations with other companies or with other countries if you're doing international trade journalism. So you will need to learn a lot of information, not just about the profession of journalists, but also about the field that you're reporting on. The last one and the fun one is entertainment journalism. So here I picked a picture of red carpet, and not from the side that you usually see where there are celebrities, but those are the people that are behind the scene, those who report. So those are the people who take pictures, who write news about celebrities, who get to meet them, do the interviews. So they cover events on popular figures, trends, events, and everything that's related to entertainment. So it's cinema, music, fashion, everything that brings joy to people's life. Entertainment journalists also report on entertainment businesses such as Disney. They get to go to Disneyland. So entertainment journalists, they are covering movie premieres, award ceremonies, and other related to entertainment industry events. And don't confuse entertainment journalists that are accredited to be at different events with paparazzi, those who take sneaky pictures of celebrities. Paparazzi are not journalists because they're self-employed and their main goal of taking those pictures is to make profit, not to report. And now I have a little homework for you to do. Please prepare to tell us, to me, and to all your classmates, why did you decide to join this class? What do you want to learn from it? Why are you interested in journalism? What are your expectations of the course? Is there a specific area that you're particularly interested in? Is there any specific topic you want me to cover? So any questions, suggestions, interests are really welcome. And I look forward to seeing you in the class today.